This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Infinity Isle, but not just any Infinity Isle. This is the special Archon mode version of Infinity Isle. So, it's gonna get weird, but let's check it out together. On the right side as the red and also as the blue, but as the Soviets, this is Miru as the builder and KhalidLavaNut as the attacker. And on the left side, as the allies, as the orange, this is StimerGames. And he's the builder, but the attacker is Yuri Prime. So it is going to be red and blue versus orange and purple. So some interesting color combinations in this case. Brief recap for those of you who may not be familiar with Archon mode. Maybe you've heard of it from StarCraft 2 or from some other games, but it has made its way here to Red Alert 3. So it's a game mode where, for all intents and purposes, you're playing a 1v1, but you're playing it with two people. So you don't have two bases or two economies or two sets of production facilities or anything. You have two people playing the same faction, playing the same quote-unquote player. The way that it works in Red Alert 3 is one player controls all of the buildings as well as engineers, and it looks like this one got sniped. And maybe, like, harvesters might be the only units that they control other than engineers. And the other player controls all of the attacking units, so that's why the colors don't match their teams. So that's why it's orange and purple. Ooh. Well, this is not a good opening for our allied player, who not only they lost their oil derrick and their engineer, but they lost that group of peacekeepers as well. They're going to be losing some dogs also. Just not going very well at all. Dogs are going to get cleaned up by this terror drone, and the peacekeeper will get one shot off on that terror drone before getting cleaned up, and the dogs will be stopped by the terror drone eventually. So just really working out quite well for our Soviet team. They are going to be heading up to the high ground for a relatively quick third expansion, but they've certainly come out ahead by a good margin in this early game. But as always, there are, perhaps some bugs and oddities with Archon mode. This is, a fan-made mode 10 years after the fact, more than 10 years after the fact of Red Alert 3 releasing. It's not like a full-on mod or anything. It's just a game mode, and with that, there might be some difficulties, but I will try and remember to put the download link in the description. You can check out Archon mode for yourself. It's a super cool, super fun game mode, and I mean, it does take some coordination because you are reliant on more than just yourself, but it's a super cool thing that has been developed here for Red Alert 3. And it looks like this prospector may actually survive this if the flak troopers get defended by this sickle. Nicely done there by Khalid. Going to be able to keep his flak troopers alive for the current moment. Yuri Prime not able to close the distance with that peacekeeper. Airfield is now down, which means all of this attacking should be coming to an end, although it looks like Khalid is going to try and get as much damage as he possibly can. It's not going to be a lot, especially now that the Vindicator can clean up the sickle. Might actually be, not with that multi-gunner turret here. Vindicator doesn't actually have to kill the sickle at all. The Vindicator can move on to do other things. But in this case, the main base has been secured, but again, at a super delay and at quite a cost. The super reactor is coming up for Miru, going to be getting up to that tier 2, so Khalid can have some hammer tanks and maybe even some twin blades to play with, as well as those bullfrogs. In the meantime, might even be worth just taking the water expansion for the speed, just get it up quickly, and then move on with your life, maybe even drop off a tier 2 before you head up to that high ground. And in this particular case, it gives our Soviet players an opportunity to drop a naval yard down here in the water and then potentially start going for some harassment, because you should be checking in on your opponent and, okay, StimerGames goes way far out on the water. Like, you can deploy just barely in the water at all, maybe even on the land, and deploy that. So he drove all the way over here, and if that is intentional, then he plans something else for this water expansion. He is not just going to be dropping off his refinery there and running for the hills. He's instead going to be doing a little bit more there, or he just wasted a bit of time by driving too far. Either one is possible. No airfield coming up, so the super reactor is here, but no airfield. And ooh, a bit of a mistake there by Khalid. He's, I don't know that it makes a whole lot of sense to reverse move from that particular situation, but he was trying. He was trying to do the right thing. Looks like they did grab the observation post in the middle of the map, and the MCV now back on the way down, going to go for the water expansion, so no airfield for the current moment. Kind of a curious move to the high ground first, but then not as a permanent expansion. Some players do like to drop a crusher crane and then base creep out here with reactors, but that is not the case here for Miru. Miru is going to drive there the old-fashioned way. Also, no hammer tanks coming out for Miru. You assume that these folks are on comms, talking to each other on, I don't know, Discord or whatever it is that people use for this sort of thing, but second airfield out on the water. Refinery is just now up, so do take note how long the Allied refinery was behind that of their opponent. They're doing a good job so far making up in the efficiency game, because, of course, if you're that far behind in the economy, then your army... okay, I thought he was about to run his bears into his own toxins. Then your army is going to be reasonably smaller, but we've already seen Yuri Prime start to get some of that efficiency back, killing off those bullfrogs earlier, picking off a couple of sickles here and there, and those are the sorts of moves that you need to be pulling as your allied player behind from this point of view. You don't want to just rush in there and try and overpower the Soviet player. Wow, right into the battle lab before the airfield at all. The Vindicator goes down, trades a Vindicator for a sickle. You'll always be happy with that if you're the Soviet player, although that Vindicator is probably paid for itself over the course of this game. MCV arriving at the high ground. Stimmer is going to get that all set up, and it's going to be 4 refineries with 4 refineries relatively soon. But, of course, the tech is the advantage, so that's why we don't see any investment into the army, because there has been that focus on tech. And actually, there's going to be a Sputnik to the high ground? Why is the Sputnik going to the high ground? So I guess this is another unit. Harvesters... expand units, and then engineers are like the 3 types of units that the builder gets to control. I assume this is a rallying mistake? No, he wants build radius in the middle. He's not even just moving back there with his MCV, which he totally could. I mean, I guess he's starting construction of something now, but it's a Tesla coil. He could have driven his MCV back there or dropped a crusher crane at the front line or something, but very curious there. He goes for the outpost, gets it a Sputnik, and he's going to be all set up there. 4th refinery up and running, trying to even things out on the economic front. Our Soviet player is still ahead, but with the efficiency of Vindicators, we'll see if that remains to be true as the moments pass. Vindicators could go for the kill on the outpost. It would deny any further build radius from Miru. Vindicators circle around, head back home. A little bit choked for cash here is Miru. Oh, okay, dropping the airfield at the same time. So airfield after Natasha. This is not a traditional game in any sense. It looks like another sickle did go down there to the Vindicators, and we now have Natasha out on the field. Also a tier 2 MCV, but with nothing tier 2 near it. So there's going to be a Tier 1 War Factory because the MCV is too far away, but the MCV is going to pull back from the high ground, and he's going to completely give that up. All right. Beacon gets dropped, but also the toxins are getting called in here, I assume. Yeah, nope, satellites. It's going to be toxins. Vindicators, 1 goes down. They clean up Natasha, so all of the Vindicators going all in on killing Natasha. Probably a pretty good move. You don't want a commando running around your base. You want to clean that up very quickly. So there's a nice bit of cash spent on Natasha. Did absolutely nothing. And into the Kirov. So this is why we are here. Khalid going to be bringing us the Kirov action. So Miru getting them all set up with those, and it's going to be a turret push on top of that. What a fantastic combination. It's going to be V4s and Kirov's, even MiG's going to be coming in, and an APOC tank on the front line, and this has now been spotted. All right, there's the shrink down of the APOC tank. Needs to back up on out of there. Doesn't want to get it crushed by that Guardian tank. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yuri Prime just gobbled up that Guardian tank, or that Mirage tank, no problem at all. V4 firing off the MiG is here. No Apollos. And raining down death is that V4. But here goes the War Factory, and here goes the kitchen sink falling from that Kirov. Goodbye, Refinery, and perhaps even MCV as well. Nope, the MCV is going to be having to cut and run, get on out of there. The MiG is going to take a couple of shots, and goodbye, airfield. Well, I guess the MiG goes down, but this Kirov can still do a lot of damage. Could have even been queued up to kill these 3 power plants to deny any more buildings from going up, or at least slow down the infrastructure. V4 does get frozen, but not cleaned up, as it looks like the cryocopter went down to the force of those bullfrogs and out to the water. A good choice for Khalid. Needs to go ahead and clean up these 3 structures just to make sure that those do not come back to provide a path to victory for our allied player. The V4 managed to unfreeze, but the Tier 2 is back. There's just no airfield around just yet, and Yuri Prime gets an Apollo, but he doesn't take off with it at any point, and he gives himself a double vet status. That Kirov just becoming even more powerful as it gets ever closer to that fully heroic status, and now it's happened. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's going to be all in for our allied players. They're going to try and push in. Nice V4 launch as these there is actually no armor on the ground. There's like nothing to kill off these Guardian tanks, so it's more of just keeping the fight around the Tesla coil so it can do as much damage as it can, and these sickles need just to get in on the action and clean up the infantry as best they can. Great roar, locking down a big chunk of that infantry, but Natasha is back out on the field, and this game is for the memes, and the memes only, as the V4 goes down, and the bullfrogs actually avoid mostly that cryo shot as it fires off there. And the Kirov, fully heroic, going to be dropping those bombs so incredibly quickly. A couple of IFVs are here, and the barracks is going to be getting nuked very nicely there, and the refinery is next. If you can get over the refinery for just a couple of moments, you will be able to do some catastrophic damage, but it's going to be the death of the Kirov that does the last bit of damage to that refinery. Nearly cleans it up, but not quite. The APOC tank helping to hold the front line, and Yuri Prime almost able to break through the front. Miru has been building some bizarre stuff for Khalid to use, and that is not what we do here. We are not about that double harvester kind of life. Observation post going to be getting eliminated, so goodbye, as you can apparently get cash back, and I don't know if that's a bug that happens sometimes or if that's a more specific Archon mode map bug where the observation post just disappears for some reason. And this might be another Kirov coming on out here. But Miru deciding to go double Natasha. Again, an unusual choice to get 1 Natasha, but to get 2 Natashas this early on in the game, you know, when you were at like 4 refineries just barely, but you had gotten your tech pretty quick, and you were also building Kirovs and APOC tanks and V4s, it's like you wanna spread out your cash a little more sensibly, usually. But in this particular case, they don't. They're just playing around, having a good time. And that is what the life Miru and Khalid are about. And, oh, these harvesters. Why was the refinery placed there? No one knows. But that is how things are. And 2! Huh! Wow. Got up to 2 Athena cannons. So, while we weren't looking, StimerGames got himself a couple of high-tech units. Nice snipe on one of those Natasha actually goes down as well again. But nice to save Natasha as he kills off one of the Athena cannons. The V4, or the Dreadnought, out on the water, going to be able to land a couple of shots maybe. The Aegis Shield is providing just a bit of health there, and it's going to allow the APOC tanks to get nice and close. And goodbye, Guardian tank. as that goes down. The Kirov gets closer, ever closer, and 2 more Vindicators are on the deck, ready to do battle, but not with the Kirov. They do nearly clean up the APOC tank, but they're not going to have anywhere to land. Just as they land, they decide to form a suicide pact and to just call it a day. You might as well go for the war factory. That's been causing you lots of problems. It's worth a decent amount of cash, and you're going to get some cash back on it anyways. And the queue up of the... That's actually going to get some nice damage off on the MCV, so that's a serious chunk of damage off of the MCV. Fortunately, the pack-up is fast enough by StimerGames, and nearly loses the Conyard, but will survive for the current moment. Beautiful toxin drop by StimerGames. He saw the opportunity, a 3rd Natasha. This is how you know people are just joking around, and they are not here to play real games. They're just here to have a good time, is when you build your 3rd Natasha. V4 is about to get dropped as they fire off their last couple missiles. That Aegis shield is a powerful combo when you've... Actually, the Dreadnought is joining in on the V4 rocket attacks here. But one Athena cannon goes heroic. The other one not quite there yet. Natasha getting targeted down once again. Natasha basically useless in this entire game, but still, they just keep building more and more Natashas. I guess she's a bit of a bullet sponge, if nothing else. Another IFV does show up to ward away that Twin Blade, and he gets the kill. Natasha not going for the snipe for some reason, deciding to try and kill the Athena cannon the old-fashioned way, which of course doesn't work very well when you've got other units going in for the attack. Natasha going to get outranged, perhaps, by those Athena cannons, especially fully heroic as they are. The Twin Blades once again getting pushed away and destroyed. Khalid making some difficult decisions, but also Miru, for some reason, still building Natashas. I don't know why. One Natasha, okay, but when she just dies and you do nothing, you might as well call it a day and just move on with your life. Another Kirov shows up fully heroic and barely surviving the attack. These Kirovs getting some serious value for our Soviet Archon team, but eventually they will go down. In fact, on one of the Guardian tanks, and it's the fully heroic one, so it's going to be targeted down possibly by Yuri Prime. No, he actually decides to let it die the old-fashioned way, and it's going to die in the open field. Pass off a lovely heroic status, or double vet, I guess. Yeah, elite status to that Terror Drone. It's going to be the Terror Drones for the win to try and bring the victory to our Soviet team, and that Terror Drone could have gone for the Infect, but it didn't. Every single Terror Drone getting eliminated, and yet still one makes it through the herd and gets the kill on, it looks like, 2 Athena cannons. Fully heroic though you may be, dead you are about to be. Toxins getting called in once again, and they're going to be forcing the infantry to pull back. And no, it's actually going to be satellites, not toxins, as they do evaporate right there. And, well, his Terror Drone, if he could close the distance, he could do some damage, but I think the Javelin Troopers will be paying too much attention to let that happen. The IFV gets the kill very easily there, and there is the 12th Natasha of this game. For some reason, they keep building Natashas. None of the Dreadnoughts have gone around the north side of the island to start shelling any of this stuff directly. They're all just hanging out here. They're not even attacking the oil derrick or this refinery. They're just playing around with friends, having a good time. Oh my gosh, Natasha again, are you kidding me? Dies once more, and Khalid can't keep Natasha alive to save his life. It looked like those infantry just got hit directly from a Dreadnought, and it only did half health. And that's pretty funny. I assume it wasn't a direct hit, but it just knocked him over. Where's this MCV even? I guess the MCV got sniped. Yeah, the MCV got sniped. That's where that 3rd fully heroic Kirov came from. Tesla Coil is here, and there's going to be the crush of the Hammer tanks. So many Javelin Troopers, and they do actually manage to stop the Hammer tanks. I thought the Hammers were going to be able to get close enough, and gets a Tesla Coil, or tries to build a Tesla Coil, but it's a little too late, and goodbye War Factory. Of course, none of these units swim, so ultimately the Soviet player, as long as they have a little bit of cash, will be safe out on the water, and they could just sell all of this stuff on the land, and then to survive with their dreadnoughts, and that would be that. But that's no fun, and another Kirov is now here. The Tier 3 is still around, although it's low power, it is still around, and the super reactor is gone. This barracks trying desperately to produce, but of course in low power mode, that's going to be very difficult, and I'm not actually sure what is even being... Was that a spy? A couple of spies getting sniped, at least one, maybe two, out here on the water. A nice attempt by Stimmer and Yuri, but ultimately it did not work out, and goodbye Tier 3. Again, nothing gets sold off. For some reason, all of these very expensive buildings, they just let die. Miru not actually selling any of them off to preserve any of that cash or try and improve their situation by any sense. They're just letting everything die in the least beneficial way possible. And hey, a couple of engineers are going to be coming out, so I guess Miru does technically have a threat to worry about. But super reactor going to be going down in the water. This refinery never actually got another harvester, but it is still around. So I mean, these refineries could have actually been paying for themselves. At least this one up on the high ground would have certainly paid for itself by this point. And this one should probably just be sold off to gain a little bit of cash back, since it's not a working refinery. These other refineries still, though, continuing to crank away. Engineer gets sniped by a Kirov. Not often do we see an engineer get sniped by a Kirov like that. And, of course, this stuff out on the water, completely vulnerable. No way for Yuri Prime to defend it, or for StimerGames to defend it. But they are still... They're not attacking that thing over there, which is a very... obvious and easy target, and then, you know, just take out the power. So at the very least, you're cutting off their production, you're stopping their multi-gunner turrets from doing anything. Just shell the entire thing with Kirovs from a distance, and by Kirovs, I mean dreadnoughts from a distance, because they literally can't do anything against dreadnoughts. But toxins getting dropped, and this is another Archon mode game, so always nice to see these. Hope that we see some more. We saw a couple in the middle of last year, 2020, but not a lot since then. I don't know if it's just people haven't been playing Archon mode that much, or if I just missed them because I was doing other stuff. To be fair, I've been casting a lot of other games recently, so it's very possible there's been lots of Archon mode happening, and I've been the one that's out of the loop on it. The barracks is still around. That actually might be priority number one, since I guess that is the only production facility, and spies are really the only way for Yuri Prime and Stimmer to get back into this. I guess Stimmer also controls the spies, so there is that, which I guess he could disguise them as one of Yuri Prime's peacekeepers, and then... yeah, and then it just looks like another peacekeeper, so we'll have to keep our eye on those units to make sure that none of them are spies. But of course, capturing a couple of dreadnoughts would be a beautiful thing to do. Ah, building a sentry gun. So, I mean, that's definitely something you can do. Just to have the one harvester. You just need one harvester for these things. You don't need more than one harvester. I love that the oil derrick is still here as well. All right, we're getting to the fast-forwarding part of this replay, as despite having a huge artillery advantage, there's no attacking really going on from Khalid. Again, just friends having a good time over Discord or whatever. I thought if you were heroic, you could laser lock from the land. Yeah. I thought heroic javelin troopers could laser lock the refinery from the land, but I guess not. Satellites getting called in. They don't get called in on the barracks, which is the one production facility, but double toxin drop. Delta Desolator Airstrike or something. Desolator Airstrike Delta, something like that is what it's called. Refinery going to be getting established by Miru, so Miru is going to be on that 2 refinery life. And I mean, 1/no refineries for StimerGames. Spy is going for the capture there. barely misses it. It was really close to those dreadnoughts. So a Twin Blade comes in for the rescue. And I'm actually surprised that that didn't work, but it didn't. And there you go. I guess Khalid lives to fight another day with his dreadnoughts. Which this is a good time to remind you that sometimes sacrificing a MiG or a Twin Blade for scouting ability so that you know precisely what your opponent has is better than having, like, remove 2 of these Stingrays and just get a MiG and fly all over the map so that you know where your opponent's stuff is and what your opponent's stuff is, and then you can just, you know, make good decisions about killing it all off. And this refinery got captured, so that's pretty funny that Stimmer managed to get that refinery. And now Stimmer has economy. Stimmer also has this oil derrick, so Stimmer has all of the money on the map, and for some reason Miru and Khalid have none, which is pretty funny. So, yeah. I guess maybe the Allies can win this, like, through engineer use. I don't... You can kill buildings, so, like... You can kill the buildings, you don't have to shoot at the army. Literally building Twin Blades to just jump on this, sacrifice yourself kind of thing. I don't know what this game is doing. Oh, he's circling around the island. I wonder if he's gonna attack anything. He's going for the engineer to capture the refinery back. Now just go build a refinery there. Go take your MCV, build a refinery over here, drop 1 sentry gun. What is... Oh, the engineers. Why are you not... Alright, they're gonna go for... If they get the barracks, that's gonna be amazing. Stimmer's gonna go for the barracks. Oh, it gets sold off. Miru spots it. Alright. Khalid is getting the idea that you can attack stuff on land. And there goes the refinery. Okay. No more money. Could have happened 10 minutes ago, but that's okay. No more money. And, yeah. Engineers just hanging out here. Ooh, is it satellites or toxins? It's gonna be toxins. That's the big one too. That's the triple. All right, so the refinery's dead. The power plants are still alive for some reason. What is that? Nothing's been there for a long time. What was that? There's nothing there. That guy moved like 30 minutes ago. Oh, Khalid, what are you doing? What is this? Yuri Prime is still trying to play this out. Like, Yuri Prime is playing this pretty legitimately. Oh my gosh, he's force firing right where the harvesters have to go so that he can try and do something about this. And as it turns out, laser locking from a heroic javelin takes down those infantry very quickly. The Warbear is here, though, so, I mean, a spy nor an engineer is gonna... What? Why? Just shoot any of this stuff. Even if this stuff is out of range, shoot all of this stuff. Like, what? Why are you... Oh, no. We're at this point. I like some of these moves by Yuri Prime. He's legitimately trying to make something happen. StimerGame and Yuri Prime really played this one out very nicely. For some reason, Miru and Khalid are drawing this out in kind of a strange way. Like, they have the game, but they don't want to win the game. Ah, they finally got some shots off on the infantry. Can they do it again? The answer is no. It's a fully heroic dreadnought. You can hit this. You can kill the power plant. I know you can. How are they getting money? There's another battle lab on the way. All right, stingrays are coming in. There's 4 stingrays up here. There's 6 stingrays down here. What are we doing? I love that this prospector is just hanging out, just being a derp. Hey, there we go. So a fully heroic from over there. Wow. Okay, there we go. Yuri Prime, StimerGames defeated. I guess this will be a rainy day game because it's not very. No, the first half was fun. The first part, I don't know that half is really fair. The first 18 minutes, probably not. The first 10 minutes, maybe that was the good part, was the first 10 minutes. All right, well, Archon mode is fun to play. Archon mode is sometimes fun to watch, and the first half of this was pretty good. But that will do it for this game. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and this is Sybert signing out.